Hey there, Wargamers, Justin Paint here, and today, I'd like to talk about the Battlemaster. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in today. For today's video, I would like to talk about the Battlemaster. Now, I assume that some of you guys may be new to Battletech Alpha Strike. Perhaps you've picked up a Game of Armor Combat, you got some new units, and you are curious about what you should field, and you're not exactly sure. If you are unfamiliar with Master Unit List, I should have a video up where you can check out how the Master Unit List works. It doesn't necessarily tell you how to build a list in terms of like being efficient at it, but that video will break down how to use the Master Unit List. So when you are building lists, you kind of know where to start and have some tips and tricks on how to find units and how to maximize the usage of the Master Unit List. Building list yourself will be a little bit of a finesse thing that you'll have to work on your own. In that case, though, to that end, to help you out a little bit, I want to talk about the Battlemaster today. Now, there are a few variants that I like as a go-to and a few philosophies when it comes to list building that are going to dictate why I pick what I pick. And that is, I like to pick lean units that have a lot of HP when possible. If I bring a more glass cannon-y style unit, it's very specific case for why I pull that unit. In this case, in particular with assault mechs, I like them where they're tanky. They can dish out some damage. And their points are low, so very efficient, very lean. They're easy to hit. Your opponent may try and take them out, and I don't want to invest more points in a unit and unnecessarily make it easy to take out and cause a big swing in material on the table by investing too much in a single unit. So for today, the first variant for the Battlemaster that I like is the Battlemaster 1G. Now, that bad boy is coming in at 40 points. He's got 15 HP, 8 move, 1 TMM, which is not too bad. TMM could be a little bit better, but 1 is not bad. 8 move is actually pretty speedy for an assault mech. This guy's a little faster than the Atlas and the Awesome. Comes in with 3-3-1 for damage, so 3 at short, 3 at medium, 1 at long range. It only has 1 special ability, which is Rear 1-1 Dash, which means it can fire 1 shot out the back arc if it needs to at a penalty. And it has 15 HP, and finally, Overheat 1. So at 40 points, not terribly expensive. 15 HP your opponent has to dig through. 8 speed, which not too bad for maneuverability, but that 15 HP. So here's the deal. When you're looking at building your units, you got to consider how much damage do they have, how much HP do they have, which means how easy is it going to be for your opponent to take them off the table and remove the damage capabilities, right? So when I'm playing these mechs and I start looking at them, starting with them at a lean point cost. 40 points is a pretty cheap Battlemaster for the amount of HP you get. Not a lot of damage output, right? Only 3. But because he starts at low points, you could decrease or give himself a bonus to his gunnery skill and maybe consider making him skill 3, right? And much like with the discussion for the Awesome, if he gets a good vantage point, he could be stationary, plop himself and overlook in kind of an Overwatch type capacity, and because he's stationary, you do give up your TMM, but you treat your gunnery skill as 1 less. So if you bring him in at 3, he remains stationary, he's a skill 2, he's probably hitting with 2 out of 3 of his damage at medium range almost every turn. Almost every turn if you're doing that, right? So, much like the strategy with the Awesome, find that vantage point, sit him right there at medium range. You don't want someone in his face if you can help it because he doesn't get a huge damage spike or anything. And at long range, absolutely useless because he's only got the 1. And because his Overheat, he doesn't have a special ability to increase it at long range. At short and mediums where he wants to be. So at medium range, having that opportunity to overheat. So sitting in the back at the maximum medium range and making your opponent make choices. Do they shoot your units that are in their face? Or do they take the opportunity to shoot at the easier target, whether you moved or didn't, he's only 1 TMM. Do they take those shots at the tank? That's 15 pips. That's 15 points of damage they got to deal to clear him. And if they don't clear him in 1 turn, all those shots might have been for naught. Like, you still get to return fire, consistently plinking and dealing damage, but if they have to choose between shooting at him or a more juicy target or someone on the objective, they might choose the one that's closer up and ignore him, which gives you that opportunity to potentially remain stationary. So you have to consider that as well. Pretty straightforward in terms of how you would use them, though. That's exactly it. Park them, shoot them, move when you need to, and do what you need to do. try to adjust your view of your mechs to not be just pure damage. It's really easy to look at this and just, sleep on it and or something like that, whatever the term is, because it doesn't have a lot of damage. Like, oh, it's only 3 and it's a Battlemaster, it should be massive. 3 damage is 3 damage. And, if he's consistently hitting with 2 out of 3 every turn you're rolling 2 damage, or rolling 3 and you're hitting 2 or 3 almost every time. Like, doing the math on it. Let's say you make him Gunnery Skill 3. Let's say he is not stationary. He's shooting at medium range, so that's a 5 right out the gate. You're shooting at a mech with a TMM of 1 or 2, so you're looking at TMM or skill 3 plus 2 for range, so 5. If they got TMM 1, you need 6s. If they have TMM 2, you need 7s. If they have a higher TMM than that, they are going to be a more fast style unit, which means if you do connect, your damage does that much more because they don't have a lot of HP. But the average stuff in the middle, on an average roll, 6s or 7s, right? And with 3 dice, you're hitting with 2 or 3 of them, right? Because you're going to be hitting with 50%. Actually, I guess it should be right around 2 points of damage instead of the 3. So if you're leaning more towards the 6, maybe you're leaning over a little over 2. If you're leaning more towards the 7, maybe closer to the 2 because it's like 1.5 or something like that. But consistently getting that damage every turn. And then if he is stationary, those odds go up in your favor. Instead of being 6 7s, you're looking at 5 6s. And if you're hitting something on 5s with 3 pairs of dice to hit, like, you're probably hitting pretty good. Again, not doing a lot of damage, but consistent damage, right? And when you've got those other units that are up in their face that they're having to deal with, him just being able to sit back and rain is really good. And if you need to push forward for an objective, he's pretty tanky. So lots of versatility and opportunities on how you might use the assault style mechs. And in particular with Inner Sphere in general, their heavy mechs generally have 1 TMM most of the time anyway. So they're all going to be relatively the same dice rolls for your opponent to hit, depending on if they're all like medium range and it's skill 3 and 4. The difference between them is not going to be huge. And this guy, like, if you brought in an Atlas, which has more HP but with more damage, it's going to cost considerably more, probably more in like the 50-something point range. So there's something to be said for lean and consistent damage, consistent dice rolls, right? Now, perhaps you don't want to run that variant. Perhaps you are a Lyran Commonwealth player, old House Steiner, or perhaps Federated Sons, or House of Davian. They have a variant that is a good contender for being an alternate option for your consideration, and that would be the Battlemaster BLR S3. It's coming in at 40 points as well, so same points, but it's only usable by Federated Sons and Lyran Commonwealth, and that's going to shift over to the Lyran Commonwealth specifically in later eras. But 40 points, still got 1 TMM, 8 move. Obviously, it's skill 4 base. Damage is going to be a bit higher. So you're looking at 4-5-2, no overheat, whereas the other one was 3-3 for damage, right? So 3-3-1 on the previous one. This one's going to be 4-5. So you're going up for 1 point of damage at short, up 2 damage at medium. The big difference is you go from 15 HP to 12. You also gain a couple more specials. So you're going to gain Case, Indirect Fire, LRM, and Rear. You still had Rear on the other one too, but you gain some other specials. The trade-off here is that HP difference. And is it worth it to you to drop down to 12 HP, or do you want to keep yourself a little more tanky with the 15? 3 pips of damage is 3 pips of damage and may not seem like much, but when you're looking at something like a Locust or a Fire Moth, like Fire Moth's got 2 HP, Locust has 3, Wasps and Stingers and stuff that have low HP, like, that's the difference between a mech or not a mech, right? And that could be this guy's HP. Is that extra damage at medium range and short range? The long range is kind of irrelevant. It's only 1 point difference. It's still nice, but you're not going to use it often. The big deal is you're looking at that 5 damage at medium. The question is the 2 extra damage at medium going to offset the 3 HP? Now, depending on what kind of game I'm playing or list I'm building, that may actually hold true. Again, because we were talking about the statistics of consistent damage, just rolling dice, not a lot of damage, but consistent damage. This guy gives up 3 pips of life, but he gains 2 points of damage at medium. And if you're running him at perhaps skill 3, which would come in at approximately similar points to the other guy, the other variant, right? Now you've got 5 pairs of dice at medium range to consistently try and hit people with. And if you're looking at 6 7s or 5 6s to hit, depending on if you're stationary or not, that's consistently more damage, and you may make up for your lack of tankiness by dealing more damage. So you have to weigh that out and determine what's going to be good for you. I think in this case, you can make the case that this one might be a good go-to for you because 2 points of damage is better than 1 point more damage. The other major issue is that this is, if you're playing with Master Unit lists specifically and trying to be fluffy, these are behind a faction wall, right? So they're going to be Davian and Lyran Commonwealth. So that's what you have to deal with. Now, for the final variant that I like, which is usable by Inner General and Mercs, and that's going to shift when you hit the Republic era. But this one is the BLR 3M. I'm a big fan of this one, and I think this one kind of splits the difference a little bit between the other two. This one comes in at 42 points, so it is 2 points more. Special ability, the only one it adds is Case, which is really nice. It's got 15 HP, which is nice. Like having that tankiness. The damage output on it is 441, so 1 point higher at short and medium range over the BLR 1G. 1 point less damage than the 3S at medium range, but it has the full 15 HP. And I think this is the one to split the difference, right? Whereas the other variants we talked about were 40 points. This one's only 2 points more, so a 5% increase in cost. Gets 1 point more damage at short and medium over the first variant, 1 less at medium than the second variant, but it's got that 3 extra HP, and I think that is the sweet spot and probably my go-to most of the time. I get the best of both worlds. I get to put outputting a little bit less damage at medium, but I'm dealing more damage at short and medium over the original variant for a very small amount more points, and I still retain my tankiness. And that is why I think that the 3M is probably my favorite. It is my go-to. It's really good. Also, the fact that, like, especially if you guys are new and you're playing in the Clan Invasion era, which is where this one picks up, so 3050 to 3061. Here's the list of factions. Obviously, you got Inner General, but you have Comstar, Inner General, Kellhounds, Marion, Hegemony, Mercenaries, Pirates, Wolf Dragoons, Word of Blake. And that list isn't going to change too much as we move forward through the eras. If you're on Master Unit list, you can check them. It is going to shift a little bit when you hit the early Republic. But otherwise, you're good to go. Probably a pretty good include. And I think that if you're new and you're unsure, give one of these 3 variants a try. Probably lean towards the 3M, but depending on your factions, if you're a Lyran Commonwealth player or Federated Sons, you might try the 3S. And if you don't want to pay that extra 2 points because you need to shave for list building, check out the 1G. That being said, guys, let me know in the comments below if this was helpful. If you are new and you tried out any of these variants in your games, how did they perform for you? And if perhaps there's a different Battlemaster variant that you think is worth considering, let me know. Sound off in the comments below. You might introduce me to something that I have not seen before. It is worth mentioning that when I did the sort here on Master Unit List to look at the ones that I like to play, I play a lot during the Clan Invasion era. I also play a lot in the Dark Age era, but those are 2 big jumps for this one because I assumed that a lot of the viewers here probably knew and got the Game Armor Combat Box. I clicked stuff in the Clan Invasion era or the Succession Wars era, leading up to Clan Invasion, that window of time, because that's the window where you're going to see most players probably getting introduced to the game and trying it out. So I did not expand my search for the Battlemaster or the Awesome video beyond that. I know that they exist, and I did look on these units to see if they existed in the future eras in general, but it did not open up my search to the full gambit of everything on Master Unit List. So you may have some recommendations for other variants that are good, but they may be in a different era. So keep that in mind when you're sharing your thoughts and your things in the comments below. As always, though, if you guys enjoy this, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that like button like you're trying to alpha strike a mech and get it off the table, because that's going to help pump up the channel. It's going to help get us strong, get us going, and I really do appreciate it. If you want to help support what I do, make sure you check out the description below. We've got some links to some ways you can support by picking up some products, whether it's some paints from Monument Hobbies or buying some terrain or minis from Death Ray Designs. And finally, if you're interested in anything at all Battletech, check out Fortress Miniatures and Games. Bobby, Mr. Robert himself, is a awesome supporter of the channel and a really cool guy, and helping support him also helps support me too. As always, though, guys, I hope this was great. If I don't sign off, though, I will continue to ramble. You know what I do, and you know what time it is. So, as always, keep rolling those dice, keep painting your models, and I will catch you guys in the next video.